Number 3. A frozen warning of warming. American geologist Paul T. Walker may have known exactly what was to come when he wrote a note, slipped it in a bottle, and buried it beneath some rocks near the edge of a Canadian glacier on Ward Hunt Island in 1959, not knowing whether his message would be discovered. His note instructed the finder to measure the distance from the bottle to the edge of the glacier. In 2013, two Laval University scientists from one of the island's research stations did, in fact, uncover the bottle frozen in ice more than 50 years after his death, which was only a month following the written message when he died of paralysis from a brain seizure. They followed his instructions. The scary and shocking measurements revealed that the ice shelf had retracted 233 feet from Walker's measurement in 1959, which was 168 feet, to the newfound measurement at 401 feet. This vast difference indicates that global warming is real, and that is scary no matter which way you look at it. Number 2. A frozen virus. Unless you're a climate change denier, you'd probably agree it's common knowledge that the Earth is getting warmer and the ice caps are melting. If you also agree that this warming is man-made, then we'd better unmake it, because we're opening up a whole new can of worms when it comes to unearthing prehistoric viruses in the Earth's frozen ice. Recently, 100 feet beneath the frozen soil of the Siberian tundra, a giant scary virus was discovered, still active, still infectious, still going strong, despite being an estimated 30,000 plus years old. According to the researchers who discovered the virus, it was fat and elongated, which is why it was named the Pathos virus. Pathos being derived from the Greek word for a large storage barrel. The virus is said to be the largest on Earth, but don't wet your scaredy pants quite yet. Although enormous and infectious, the human species is immune to the danger the virus poses, as it only affects amoebes, single-celled organisms. Thank God most of us are many-celled, but the discovery still poses a problem. When the permafrost is distributed either by scientists, nature, or man-made global warming, supersized viruses that lurk below may also be disturbed, and next time, who knows if the virus will be harmless to man, like this mega Siberian one. The permafrost may serve as a waiting room for prehistoric infectious viruses that have the potential to destroy the human species. Number 1. A frozen curse. Yet another mummy, known as Ötzi the Iceman, was found in the Ötztal Alps in 1991. The Iceman dates back to sometime around 3300 BC, making him hella old and hella scary. As the crew removed him from the mountain after two German tourists discovered him, Ötzi was a cursed thing. In the 13 years that followed, 7 people who were involved in the excavation ended up dead. 4 of the deaths were extremely violent, while the other 3 were natural. The Iceman himself is said to have experienced a violent death. He was speared by an arrow, after which his skull was bashed in with a rock or some other blunt object. Cursed conspiracists suppose that the Iceman wanted to avenge his death in the form of cursing those who would remove his body from its final resting place, and maybe that's true. Let's tally his victims up and decide for ourselves. Death number 1 was Rainer Henn, the forensic pathologist who placed the remains of Ötzi in a body bag. He died in a terrible car crash on the way to a world conference to discuss Ötzi in 1992. Death number 2 was Kurt Fritz, the mountaineer guide who led Henn to the remains. On a separate climb, he was killed in an avalanche. He was the only member of his party to die. Death number 3 was natural. The photographer of the excavation died from a brain tumor. Death number 4 was Helmut Simon, the man who discovered Ötzi. He'd gone missing in 2004, and after a week, he was found in a creek where he'd landed after plummeting 300 feet off a cliff. Death number 5 was a man on Simon's rescue team who passed away only an hour after his funeral. Death number 6 was Konrad Spindler, a lead expert on the Iceman, who passed away from a chronic condition of ALS. And the last death was Tom Loy, a scientist who examined the Iceman's clothing and weapons. He passed away naturally as well, from a hereditary blood disease. After that, the curse seemed to have run its course, that is, until the Iceman cometh.